Listen, right now, your life is being shaped by things you're not even noticing. Not by your intelligence, not by your effort, not even by your circumstances, but by what your mind is filtering out and what it's quietly looping in the background all day. And here's the twist. You don't need more energy. You need to stop leaking the energy you already have. Because the truth is, you're not tired in the way you think. You're split. Your body is in one place, and your attention is living somewhere else. And once you learn how to bring it back, everything changes. Let me show you. If you've been feeling stuck lately, like you're doing a lot, but moving nowhere, like you're trying to improve, trying to heal, trying to grow, but something invisible keeps pulling you back, this video is for you, because I'm not here to give you another motivational speech that feels good for 5 minutes. I want to give you something deeper, a way to understand how your mind builds your reality, how your attention silently shapes your emotions, how your nervous system decides what's possible for you, and how you can train it gently, practically, to open again. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. This isn't about forcing positivity. This is about regaining control of your inner steering wheel, not with pressure, with awareness, with presence, with a kind of calm power that doesn't need to prove anything. And I want you to watch this like it's a journey, not a lecture. Because somewhere inside this video, you're going to recognize yourself. And when that happens, don't rush past it. That recognition is the doorway. Let's begin with something simple, but unsettling. Your brain is deleting most of your reality. Right now, you're surrounded by detail, tiny sounds, small movements of air, pressure points where your body meets the chair, light shifting across the room, the subtle tension in your jaw you forgot was there. But you don't experience all of it. Because you can't. Your mind is like a bouncer at the door of a crowded club. Millions of signals show up. Your brain points at a few and says, you, come in. Everything else, denied entry. Not because it's not real, but because it's not considered relevant to survival, identity, and habit. Now here's the part most people miss. That same filter that helps you function can also trap you. Because if your nervous system has labeled something as danger or too much or not for me or I'm not that kind of person, your brain doesn't just block pain, it blocks possibility. A modern example, have you ever bought a new phone or a new car and suddenly you see that same model everywhere? It's not that the world changed, your filter changed. The cars were always there, your brain just started letting them in. Now imagine this. What if opportunities, supportive people, creative ideas, confidence, peace have been there the whole time, but your mind doesn't let them in? Not because you're broken, but because your system has been trained to scan for threats, mistakes, rejection, and lack. So you live inside a reality your brain is constantly editing, and you call it life. Now, I want to make this personal, because this shows up in the most ordinary moments. You walk into a room and you instantly feel the vibe. But what you call vibe is often your brain doing rapid prediction. Am I safe here? Do I belong? Will I be judged? Should I shrink? And before anyone even speaks to you, your posture changes, your voice shifts, your energy tightens, and you think, that's just my personality. But it might not be. It might be a filter you learned, a pattern your nervous system memorized. And the beautiful thing is, patterns can be updated. Let's do something right now. Not complicated, not mystical, just real. Exercise. The return. For the next 10 seconds, feel the soles of your feet. That's it. Feel the weight, the pressure, the contact. Now notice something. A moment ago, your feet were still there. But you weren't there with them. Your body was present, but your awareness was elsewhere. And the second you bring attention to a place, sensation becomes louder. Not because you created it from nothing, but because you turned the volume up on what was already happening. This is the foundation of everything we're talking about. Because attention isn't just a flashlight. Attention is a tuning fork. Where you place it reality organizes itself around it. And if you've been placing attention on worry, comparison, regret, or control, it doesn't just feel bad, it becomes your world. So when people say, I need more energy, a lot of the time what they really mean is, my attention is scattered and I can't find myself. Now let's go deeper, because once you understand how attention works, you start realizing something shocking. Your life is not only shaped by what you notice, it's shaped by what you expect. Most people think they look at the world and see it, but your brain doesn't function like a camera. It functions like a prediction engine. It takes incomplete data and fills in the gaps based on your past. That's why two people can live the same event and walk away with completely different realities. One person hears feedback and thinks, I'm being attacked. Another hears the same feedback and thinks, I'm being guided. Same words, different in a movie, real-world illustration. Think of walking past a group of people laughing. If your history includes rejection, your mind might instantly whisper, they're laughing at you. If your inner world feels secure, you might assume, they're just having fun. One situation, two worlds. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your nervous system doesn't care what's true. It cares what's familiar. So if you grew up in chaos, peace can feel suspicious. If you grew up needing to perform, rest can feel like guilt. If you grew up being criticized, love can feel temporary. This is how people sabotage good things, not because they want pain, but because pain is what their body knows how to navigate. And when this becomes automatic, you don't just think your way through life, you react through life. You live on autopilot. So the real question becomes, how do you interrupt the autopilot without becoming tense and obsessive? How do you become powerful without becoming rigid? That's where the next idea matters, because the greatest form of control is not forcing, it's releasing the unnecessary grip. I want to redefine something. When I say control your energy, I don't mean you become some constantly perfect person. I don't mean you never feel anxious. I mean you stop driving your life with the emotional brakes on. Because you can have a strong body, a strong mind, big dreams, good intentions, and still feel stuck. Why? Because your system is spending half its power just maintaining internal tension. It's like having 20 tabs open in your mind. Old arguments, future fears, unresolved decisions, silent self-judgment, comparison, what if I fail? What if I'm not enough? And you wonder why you're exhausted. You're not weak. You're running background programs. So, energy work, in a grounded modern sense, becomes this: learning to close the loops, learning to reclaim attention, learning to calm the nervous system enough to access your real capacity. And yes, some people experience this as subtle sensations: warmth, tingling, pulsing, expansion. But the real proof isn't what you feel in your hands. The proof is what changes in your life. You respond instead of react. You think clearly under pressure. You stop spiraling as often. You stop abandoning yourself. You stop leaking power into what doesn't deserve it. That is energy mastery, not performance. Presence. Let me give you a modern example that's painfully relatable. You ever sit down to work, and you have the time, you have the ability, but you can't start. You scroll, you snack, you reorganize something meaningless, you open and close apps. That's not laziness, that's your nervous system avoiding discomfort. Because starting requires vulnerability. Starting risks failure. Starting risks judgment, even if nobody is watching. So your body chooses safety and calls it procrastination. Energy control is learning how to guide yourself through that moment gently, not by yelling at yourself, by becoming aware of what's happening and shifting state. Now we need to talk about something that sounds strange, but you already know it's true. The moment you observe something inside you, it changes. Forget complicated theories for a second. Just look at your own experience. If you're stressed and you don't notice it, stress runs the whole show. But the moment you pause and say, wait, I'm stressed, something separates. A little space appears. You're no longer only the storm, You become the one witnessing the storm, and that space, that tiny gap, is where freedom lives. Because inside that gap, you can choose: soften the jaw, slow the breath, unclench the hands, step away from the trigger, speak differently, not send the message, not make the impulsive decision. Awareness doesn't fix everything instantly, but it gives you a steering wheel, and most people don't need a new life. They need a steering wheel. Illustration: imagine you're in traffic and someone cuts you off. If you're unconscious, you become rage. Your whole body heats up. You replay it for 30 minutes. You arrive at your destination carrying poison. But if you catch it early: wow, my body is flaring right now. You might still feel anger, but you don't become it. You release it faster. That's mastery. And this is where it gets interesting. Observation isn't passive. Your attention is participation. Where attention goes, the nervous system follows. And where the nervous system follows, behavior follows. And where behavior follows, your entire future starts rearranging. Now, we're going to build a practical path. Not a fantasy, a path. Because you can train this. The same way you trained yourself to type, drive, speak your language, hold your phone. This is training. And the first training is this: you stop trying to fight your mind with your mind. You work with your system the way it actually works. So let's talk about neuroplasticity, but in a human way. You've probably heard that the brain can change, but I want you to feel what that means. It means the version of you that overthinks was built. The version of you that doubts yourself was built. The version of you that freezes when it's time to act was built. And anything built can be rebuilt, not overnight, not with force, but with repetition, emotion, and consistency. A vivid example: think about the first time you used GPS. At first, you listened carefully. You checked the screen constantly. You felt nervous about missing turns. Then over time, you started trusting it. You stopped checking every second. Your body learned, I know how to do this. That's the nervous system learning safety through repetition. Now apply that inward. If your system has repeated fear patterns for years, it makes sense that confidence feels foreign. Confidence is not just a thought. It's a state your body must learn to tolerate. That's why people who think positive but still feel stuck aren't failing. They're skipping the body. So our goal is not to hypnotize you into believing something. Our goal is to teach your system new evidence. Small, real, repeatable experiences of safety, focus, and power. That's how change becomes permanent. Now, I'm going to introduce a concept that might sound mystical, but it's actually practical. Your reality is shaped by your inner lens, not in a magical way, in a psychological way. Your lens decides what gets highlighted and what gets ignored, and when you change the lens, you change your life. Let's talk about the movie happening in your head. All day, your mind is editing. What you believe people mean, what you believe you can handle, what you believe will happen next. It's like having a private filmmaker inside you, and the film determines your emotional state. Here's the key: you don't always control the first scene, but you can control what happens after you notice it. Modern illustration: you post something online, then you check your phone, no likes yet. And suddenly your mind writes a whole story. They don't care. I'm embarrassing. I'm not good enough. Why do I even try? That's not reality. That's your director creating a painful narrative to protect you from uncertainty. Because uncertainty is the thing your nervous system hates most. So it manufactures certainty, even if it's negative. That's why people assume the worst. It feels like control. But it's a false control that drains you. Now here's what powerful people do. Quietly. They rehearse reality differently. Not with delusion. With intention. They train their inner film. Think of a firefighter. When they get a call, they can't panic. So they train scenarios. Over and over. So when chaos hits, the body doesn't collapse. It executes. Same with an ER nurse. Same with a pilot. Same with someone giving a high-stakes presentation. They train their system to respond. You can do that too. But the way we do it is softer. We do it with imagery, breath, and state. Exercise. Rewrite the next 10 minutes. Pick something you're about to do today. Maybe a conversation, a task you've been avoiding, a moment you usually rush through. Now imagine yourself doing it with one small upgrade. You breathe slower, you speak calmer, you stay present, you don't over-explain, you don't abandon yourself. Not perfect, just upgraded. Run that scene in your mind for 20 seconds. That's not fantasy. That's training your nervous system to consider a new pathway. And your body responds to it. Your muscles soften, your breath steadies, your attention stabilizes. That's energy control in real time. Now, I need to bring you into a deeper layer, because beneath thoughts, beneath emotions, beneath even identity, there is something in you that is already steady. And when you touch it, life stops feeling like a constant emergency. Let's talk about awareness. There's a part of you that notices your thoughts, the part that notices your fear, the part that notices you're watching this right now. That noticing is not the thought, it's what sees the thought. And this matters more than people realize, because if you believe you are your thoughts, then every fear feels like truth. Every insecurity feels like identity. But if you recognize, I'm the awareness that is experiencing fear, you don't become cold, you become free. Real life illustration. Imagine you're watching a thunderstorm through a window. The storm is loud, intense, but you're not outside in it. You're witnessing it from shelter. That's what awareness gives you. Shelter, not escape, not denial, shelter. So when sadness comes, you can hold it. When anger comes, you can witness it. When uncertainty comes, you can breathe inside it. You stop drowning in yourself. And when you stop drowning, you start living. Now, I know what some people fear here. If I become the observer, will I become passive? No. You become precise, because you act from clarity, not from panic. You stop reacting like an open wound. You start responding like a wise mind. And here's the spiritual clarity. Grounded, not exaggerated. Unity doesn't mean you become one with everything in a dramatic way. It means you stop feeling so separate that you're constantly defending yourself. You stop living like life is always attacking you. You stop taking everything personally. And that alone is a miracle. Now we're going to tie this together with something that people often misunderstand. The world is full of illusions, but not in a paranoid way, in a perceptual way. Your mind creates a model of reality, and your suffering often comes from mistaking the model for the truth. Your experience of life is real, but it's not raw reality. It's reality processed. It's like looking at the world through a phone camera. The camera sharpens some things, blurs others, adjusts exposure, boosts color. So yes, you see the scene, but you're seeing a version of the scene, and most people never question their settings. They live their whole lives with an anxious filter, a scarcity filter, a rejection filter, a not enough filter, and then they conclude, that's just how life is. No, that's how your settings are. Modern illustration. Social media is a perfect example. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes life to someone else's highlight reel, and your nervous system doesn't know it's curated. It just feels, I'm behind. So you hustle harder, feel worse, and call it ambition. That's illusion. Money can be illusion too, not meaning money isn't real, but meaning the meaning we attach to it can distort us. Some people feel powerful with money, some people feel shame, some feel safety, some feel emptiness. Same currency, different inner programming. And time, even time is experienced differently depending on your state. When you're anxious, time feels fast and sharp. When you're present, time feels wide. So the question becomes, if your reality is shaped by filters, why not learn to adjust them? Not to control everything outside, but to become free inside. And now we arrive at the most important turning point in this entire video. Awakening. Not in a dramatic, everyone is against you way, in a quiet, powerful way. You start noticing the invisible scripts that have been running your life. For many people, awakening isn't a lightning bolt. It's a series of small moments like, why do I always chase people who don't choose me? Why do I sabotage peace? Why do I shrink when I should speak? Why do I keep living like I'm running out of time? Awakening is when you realize some of your thoughts are not truth. They're conditioning. They're echoes. They're old survival code. And the moment you see that, you stop being controlled by it. Because awareness breaks the spell. A vivid, real-world story. Imagine someone who grew up in a home where love was unpredictable. They become an adult and find a stable partner. But stability feels unfamiliar. So their nervous system starts creating problems. They interpret neutral tone as rejection. They search for hidden meaning. They test the relationship, not because they want to ruin it, but because their body associates love with uncertainty. That's how deep this goes. So awakening is not judging yourself. It's understanding yourself and saying, okay, I see the pattern, and then taking responsibility, not blame. Responsibility. Because once you see the script, you can rewrite it slowly, daily, gently. That's the real rebellion. Not rage, not paranoia, presence. Now, I want to give you a practical pathway, a simple sequence you can follow after this video. Because inspiration without structure fades. So here's your method. Step 1. Notice the leak. Once a day, ask, where is my energy going that isn't giving life back to me? Examples: replaying conversations, doom scrolling, arguing in your head, self-criticism, trying to control what you can't. Don't judge it. Just name it. Naming is power. Step 2. Return to the body, because the body is the anchor. Do a 30-second reset. Soften the belly drop, the shoulders. Exhale longer than you inhale. Feel your feet. You're telling your nervous system, we're here now. Step 3. Choose one point of focus. 1, not 5. 1. A single next action. Open the document. Wash the cup, send the message. Take the walk, begin the first minute. Focus is how energy gathers. Step 4. Remove the inner pressure. Say this quietly. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be present. This disarms the fear of failure. Step 5. Close the loop. Finish one small thing. Completion trains confidence, not motivation, completion. When you complete, your brain learns, I can trust myself. That trust becomes power. Now, I want to take you into a deeper guided segment, because some of you aren't just mentally tired. You're emotionally overloaded, and your system needs a softness it hasn't had in a long time. So let's do a short guided reset together. If you can, sit comfortably. If you're driving, just listen, don't close your eyes. Now inhale slowly, and on the exhale, let your shoulders drop. Again, inhale, exhale, soften the face. Now notice the part of you that has been trying so hard, the part of you that's been carrying everything. Just notice it, and instead of fixing it, offer it one message. You don't have to hold everything at once. Now imagine your attention like a scattered flock of birds, coming back, not violently, not forced, one by one, returning to the center, returning to you. Feel what it's like to be gathered, to be whole. Now ask yourself, what is the next kind thing I can do for my future? Not the biggest, not the hardest, the next kind thing. Let that answer arise, and when it does, hold it gently. That's your direction. This is how you rebuild a life, not with pressure, with alignment. Now let's close this video with something I want you to remember on the hard days. If you take nothing else from this, take this. You are not your anxiety. You are not your past. You are not the voice that doubts you at midnight. You are the one who can notice all of that and still choose your next step. Your power is not loud. Your power is not aggressive. Your power is the quiet decision to return to yourself again and again until it becomes home. And yes, the world is strange. Reality is deeper than what we were taught. Your mind filters more than you realize. Your attention shapes more than you were told. But that's not something to fear. That's something to use wisely, gently, with integrity. So start small. Today, reclaim one leak, return to your breath. Choose one focus, complete one small action, and let that be enough. Because enough is how you rebuild trust. And trust is how you rebuild destiny. If this video spoke to something real inside you, do me a favor. Like this video so more people who need it can find it. Subscribe if you want more deep, practical guidance like this. And comment below one word that describes what you're reclaiming right now. Peace, focus, confidence, freedom, clarity. And if you know someone who's been feeling lost, scattered, or drained, share this with them. Because sometimes the right message at the right time isn't just content, it's a turning point. I'll see you in the next one.